The biggest mistake you can make with a toxic person is trying to prove that they're toxic. You explain yourself, you defend your intentions. You replay the conversation in your head, searching for the perfect words that will finally make them understand. But somehow, every explanation creates another argument. And that's because some difficult people are not looking for understanding. They're looking for a reaction. Once you understand that, the way you deal with them completely changes. You stop asking, how do I make this person understand me? And you start asking a much more important question. How much access should this person have to my peace? The first thing to understand is this. Stop over-explaining yourself. When someone constantly twists your words, questions your intentions, or makes you feel guilty for perfectly reasonable choices, your natural instinct may be to explain more. You think that if you can just say it clearly enough, they'll finally understand. But more explanation doesn't always create more understanding. Sometimes it simply gives the other person more material to argue with. You are allowed to make a decision without turning it into a courtroom defense. A simple, "that doesn't work for me," can be enough. The second shift is even harder. Stop reacting to every provocation. Some people learn exactly which emotional buttons to press. They know what makes you angry, what makes you defensive, what makes you feel guilty. And when every provocation gets a reaction, the pattern keeps repeating. This doesn't mean becoming cold or pretending you have no emotions. It means realizing that not every comment deserves your energy. Sometimes the most powerful response is a calm sentence. Sometimes it's changing the subject. And sometimes it's no response at all. But silence alone is not enough. You also need boundaries. And this is where many people misunderstand what a boundary actually is. A boundary is not, "you are not allowed to do this." A boundary is, "if this continues, this is what I will do." If someone repeatedly insults you, you can end the conversation. If someone constantly disrespects your time, you can become less available. If every interaction leaves you emotionally exhausted, you can create distance. You don't need to punish them. You simply change how much access they have to you. And then comes perhaps the hardest part. Stop needing their approval. Because sometimes the reason we tolerate unhealthy behavior for so long is not weakness. It's hope. We hope they'll finally appreciate us. We hope they'll admit they were wrong. We hope that if we remain patient, kind, and understanding long enough, they'll eventually treat us differently. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. And your self-worth cannot depend on which one happens. You can care about someone without giving them unlimited access to you. You can forgive someone without returning to the same pattern. And you can love someone while still deciding that distance is healthier. That is not cruelty. That is emotional maturity. So the next time someone tries to pull you into unnecessary drama, remember this. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to prove your heart to someone determined to misunderstand it. And you do not have to sacrifice your peace just to keep another person comfortable. The goal is not to defeat toxic people. The goal is to become so clear about your boundaries, your values, and your worth that their behavior no longer controls yours. Sometimes the strongest response isn't a better argument. It's a boundary, followed by peace. If this helped you see things differently, subscribe to Vera Mind. Because understanding people begins with understanding yourself.